Welcome to the Shyamcast. This is Brett.
This is Shyam.
Thanks so much for being here with us. How are you today, Shyam?
How am I today? Doing well. Normal routine.
Very nice.
Keeping myself engaged.
Mm, Wonderful. We have a very nice guest staying
Hmm.
at the temple
Next week
currently.
also we have him with us.
Very nice. Brihat Mridanga Prabhu.
And
Very blessed to have him there.
wonderful soul. And we have one more devotee coming the week after that.
Oh, wonderful.
And then we have Kalakanta Prabhu coming here on May 8th.
Mm.
May 8th to May 11th.
Wow,
So
guests are just rolling in through
uh,
Grand Rapids.
in summer we have more guests. Winter is a little bit light.
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, a lot of exciting things,
Mm.
coming up. And yeah, we're at a well, every part of Bhagavad Gita is exciting, but
Mm.
we're uh we're in chapter 6.
Mm.
It's an exciting chapter.
Mm.
And we talked about this recently where you're sort of like you kind of have an idea of beforehand of which verses will be chosen. I'm guessing you're probably gonna you probably already know which ones we have for this time as well. Um, we spoke about essentially moderation last time.
Mm.
And we talked about the verse about not eating or sleeping too much, too little, right? Trying to
Mm.
find the balance, with all aspects of life so that really we can focus on the sadhana or the practice.
Mm.
Right?
Mm. Mm.
Um, and so I guess from there we're gonna go to a set of verses. These verses are just sort of set up for it's like Srila Prabhupada just he put four verses together, so it's kind of like there's more
Okay.
emphasis or focus on
Mm.
these ones.
Mm.
And I suppose this set of verses describes one of the results that one might achieve after many years of practice, right after sort of a very gradual attainment. And so, yeah, this is verses 20 through 23 in
Mm.
chapter 6.
Mm. Mm.
So
Okay, let's
Krishna,
go for it.
okay, yeah, it's kind of long.
Mm. Mm.
So Krishna says, in the stage of perfection called
Mm.
trance or samadhi, one's mind is completely restrained from material mental activities by practice of yoga. This perfection is characterized by one's ability to see the self by the pure mind and to relish and rejoice in the self. I should say capital S, self. This is being
Mm.
used here. In that joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness, realized through transcendental senses. Established thus, one never departs from the truth, and upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken, even in the midst of the greatest difficulty. This indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact. Hmm.
Yeah, there is a lot in there.
It is. Do you think I should read it again?
We can read it again, and then we can go line by line and then
Okay.
reflect. Maybe short, quick reflections so that we
Mhm.
cover all the lines.
Okay. Yeah. A lot more pieces here than normal.
Yeah.
Okay, so just going through it all one more time.
Mm.
In the stage of perfection called trance or samadhi, one's mind is completely restrained from material mental activities by practice of yoga. This perfection is characterized by one's ability to see the self by the pure mind and to relish and rejoice in the self. In that joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness, realized through transcendental senses. Established thus, one never departs from the truth, and upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken, even in the midst of the greatest difficulty. This indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact. Okay. So just bit by bit.
Bit by bit,
Uh,
let's digest it.
yeah. So the first part, Prabhuji, in the
Mm,
stage of perfection called trance or samadhi.
mm,
This is the topic
mm,
that is being that Krishna is discussing here. So a
mm,
stage of perfection.
mm,
So this is sort of like a final stage, right? Or
mm.
maybe not a final stage, but a very high level of stage, right?
We realize the Lord in this stage.
Mm.
Lord is revealed. Yeah.
And so he calls it trance.
Mm. Because one is fully absorbed in remembering the Lord in this yoga system. Their goal is remembrance. Na?
Mm.
Before that, the stages they try to remember, but the remembrance is intermittent. But the last stage of samadhi, the remember is continuous. So in a way, they are fully connected with the Lord.
Mm. So it's like whenever some of us feel like, oh, every now and then I have some little like say like a moment of realization or a moment of clarity or peace or something, um I suppose obviously this is quite a higher attainment, but it's as if you can imagine the highest peak and you're at that
Yeah.
level.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
So our realization is little by little now. So they are like, and then it adds on and adds on and adds on. When the Lord and the material world both are fully realized, full realization of what this material world is and temporary nature and what the effect of this world is, and what it gives to us, full realization of the three modes and how Maya is working, full realization of material world and full realization of Krishna. So this is like the final attainment. It's like I probably few lifetimes. Krishna says to attain this take few lifetimes. In this chapter, Krishna says that.
Mm.
Mhm.
So let's see. One's mind is completely restrained from material mental activities by practice of yoga. So that's the next piece. This so one is practicing yoga constantly, as you say, and the mind is completely restrained from anything material.
So mind has become spiritualized. So mind initially is fully absorbed in this world in a way with the objects in this world. Then gradually you bring Krishna, little bit, little by little, by force. Mind tries to reject it. No, no, Krishna. What I want, I want. Then we say, no, no, Krishna for you. You think of Krishna. He's like, no. Then there is a tug of war in the mind forcing to think of Krishna. Then gradually the mind start finding taste in Krishna. Little taste. Then he's like, okay, I'll think of him for 10 minutes now. He's okay, fine. And then slowly, slowly, this stage of samadhi is fully conscious of Krishna, like a stage of Krishna conscious. Now, one thing I want to say is there is a difference between samadhi of a yogi and samadhi of a devotee. Samadhi yoga of a yogi is no material activity, only remembrance. Samadhi of a devotee is service. Like Srila Prabhupada gave an example of Mother Yashoda's samadhi. So she is cooking for Krishna. Krishna is going out. She's in separation. Krishna, she is feeling pain that Krishna may be pricked by a thorn when he is walking barefoot. And Krishna comes back and she embraces him. And then she takes care of him. She's concerned Krishna is not eating well enough. He'll become weak. So, in a way, she's constantly thinking of Krishna. Her constant thought is based on serving Krishna. But for a yogi, it's only Paramatma realization. Paramatma is fixed in the heart. For a Bhagwan realization, for a devotee is Bhagwan realization, and the Lord is performing his activities. So constantly engage in those activities or being with him or constantly remembering his activities, like full blown realization for a bhakta. For a devotee, he's just sitting in the heart and that's all. And I'm just remembering him. Both the case, no material activity, no material mind. The mind is completely spiritualized. But Bhagwan realization for a devotee is higher.
Mm. So yeah, thank you, Proji, for the distinction. I guess just to try to make it, I guess, make it clear in my mind, what the difference is. So there's no material activity in either one, or in either
Mm,
one of these samadhis. So
mm.
does that mean that like there's no sense of ego in either one? There's no sense of this I and mine.
No, yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
And so one
And
samadhi would be to realize, would you say that God is within us,
yeah,
like sort
yeah,
of the divinity within?
yeah,
And then the other samadhi is to live a life of full, complete service.
yeah. And realizing the God, that how the God is within everyone, and the source of that God particle is the personality, who
Mm,
expands and enters into everyone and fully focused on that personality.
mm.
I mean, there is a personality within our heart, but he's in everyone's heart. And then there is one personality who is source of all these personalities.
Okay. So through service, right? This is
Mm.
bhakti, right? Through devotional service, that's
Yeah.
how one realizes the personality of Godhead,
Mhm. Mm.
or the cause of all causes.
Mhm. Another quick thing is no ego, no false ego. How Prabhupada says ego is identification. So no false identification. None of them identify themselves with the word or with relationships in this world or with like any connection with this world. But they both are fully identify themselves as belonging to part and parcel of Lord. Fully. That's the only identity that remains. So that is called true ego.
Mm,
I belong to him and this is the relationship and that's all that exists. Everything below that is gone.
mm, mm,
They may still act on that relationship. They may still be conscious of that relationship, but they know that this is the arrangement in this world at this point of time, and this arrangement is temporary. And they're fully realizing that their true identity is completely different.
mm. And so we're also getting into the spiritual relationships here, right?
Mm,
When we're talking about samadhi. So
yeah,
the spiritual world, or the spiritual sort of identity, you say
yeah,
like the true identity, or the like the not the false ego. So like
yeah,
just the true identification with
yeah,
being spirit soul. And it is taught that there are sort of spiritual relationships,
yeah,
right? And so I suppose, like as you're saying, if one form of samadhi is a sort of more general, like, okay, this is within everybody,
yeah.
the realization of the bhakta is the unique
Mm,
relationship that one has with the Lord.
mm, mm. And that is fully awakened.
Mhm.
Then, one more point on this, the Lord is within all living entities, but still He is one. He is one Paramatma. He is one, although He is in the heart of all living entities. The reason we see, because for Krishna there is no space constraint, there is no time constraint. But we see because of space constraint, He is present here, here, here. Because we are thinking from the space constraint. But actually, there is no such constraints for Him. So He is one. It's present, but we cannot conceive it, cannot conceive beyond, cannot think beyond space and time.
Mhm. Yeah. Mm. So moving forward, Prabhuji,
Mm,
this perfection is characterized by one's ability to see the self, capital S self, by the pure mind, and to relish and rejoice in the self.
mm,
So if I think this is describing at least part of what we're talking about here, right?
mm.
See the self. This is what I guess. So when Krishna says self in this verse, is this Paramatma then?
No, he sees the self. The capital S is, um, well, he sees both.
Mm,
He sees himself. Basically, he's seeing the Lord. He's seeing the Lord.
mm, mm. And relishing, rejoicing.
That relationship.
No
Yeah.
need of anything else, nothing material.
Yeah. If S self is with a capital S, that Lord.
Mm,
But then there may be a confusion that arises. That's why I'm clarifying that the Lord and we are separate, but we are fully connected in the stage of samadhi. Some people may think that he sees the self, and self means I, and I is Lord. So I and Lord are the same. So just trying to avoid that.
mm,
Yeah.
mm.
So he sees the Lord, and he sees, because he sees the Lord, it's somebody who is seeing the Lord, and that's he by the spiritual senses. He sees it actually, but he doesn't see through the eyes. It will be the next line, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
Continue.
mean, we can talk about that. It does come right after this. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's definitely a question, like this relishing, rejoicing, being, sort of, as you say, like you're seeing God. It says through transcendental, well, it's called transcendental happiness through transcendental senses. So our transcendental senses, like it's still sight and hearing and touch. It's still like the five senses, but in a different way,
And,
correct? Or
uh,
maybe you can certainly explain it better than me.
under the body, there is soul. The soul has the senses. Krishna has eyes, nose, ears. Every resident in a spiritual world has eyes, nose, ears. One of our teacher, Sanathan Goswami, he wrote about a devotee Gop Kumar, and he mentions his journey in the spiritual world. And he says when he entered into the spiritual world, which is in our tradition is called Vaikuntha, when he entered there, he saw everybody was four-armed. Everybody has eyes, nose, and he was thinking, he's paying obeisances to everybody. He's thinking, this is the Lord. He said, no, 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 I'm just a devotee. This is the Lord. No, I'm just a devotee. So he cannot find who is the Lord. Then finally he saw, oh, there is actually the Lord. This is in our tradition is called Sarupya Mukti, liberation where one has the same form as the Lord. We may have read it somewhere before. So they have senses, Prabhuji. Likewise, the same soul has become minuscule, 1/10,000th tip of a hair, and is present in the region. Has become small, but the same senses are there with us. So, with that, the eyes may be closed, but we can see exactly the features of the Lord, the hands of the Lord, the feet of the Lord. We are seeing everything about the Lord. Very clear. Like Prabhupada says, like a television, we are seeing the Lord. But that is through spiritual sense. We can smell the Lord. We can hear the Lord's flute. So there is a mention where spiritual senses, only those who hear, Om Krishna wants to hear. Om Krishna wants somebody to hear, they will hear. Others will not hear. Medical sound, everybody, it will enter into everybody's eyes. Not spiritual sound.
Mm. Yeah, I guess you just one thing that comes to mind, which is, describe that this is the experience that satisfies all desires. You know,
Mm.
I suppose it's sort of, I mean, one of the prerequisites is one is free from material attachments
Mm.
and material desires, but from the different descriptions of, devotees in scriptures who have, witnessed, seeing, Vishnu comes to them, Dhruva Maharaj is the first one that comes to my mind, like all of the desires that they ever had are just gone. Like
Mm.
Dhruva, he went to the woods to practice austerity, to worship God so that he could, get a very large kingdom. And that was sort of what he wanted. He was very determined, to
Mm.
get that. And then, sort of due to his, I guess the nature of his practice, he was worthy, he severe austerities, continually in trance. He received, the benediction where Vishnu comes to him. And it's like once he witnesses, once, that's like the moment that happened, he falls down in Dandavats, and he says, I don't want anything anymore. I don't like everything that I wanted before. This has satisfied everything.
Mm, mm. And there is also a mention where he sees the Lord within his mind.
Mm.
And when the Lord appears in person, then he loses that vision within himself. That was what he was seeing with his spiritual senses. He was completely satisfied. But when he lost the vision, then he became very disturbed. And he tried to focus with his mind and he could not see the Lord with his spiritual senses. Then he opened his eyes very disturbed and then he saw the Lord, same personality standing in front. So that shows that when we see the Lord within our heart, the Lord is manifesting within our heart by his will. And if he wants, he can disappear from there.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, so it's not, I guess again, is a consistent, theme of like not being the doer, right? It's like this is not something that, because that's a false ego conception, right? It's not like I am doing this. It's like, I guess, one realizes that it's all mercy. It's all being given.
Exactly. Yes. It's mercy. Yeah.
Mm. Very nice. So we're about halfway through the verse.
Okay.
So boundless transcendental happiness, established thus, one never departs from the truth. And upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain.
Mm.
So I suppose we did mention a little, one thinks there's no greater gain. It's like this is the satisfaction of all desires that I've ever had and didn't know that I had. Um, and then, Krishna also says that one never departs from the truth. So it's
Mm.
describing like it's like the immortal nature of the soul and of the relationship that one
Mm.
has to the divine,
Mm.
saying you never depart from it.
Mm. Mm. Another way that I was thinking, um, everyone is looking for pleasure, no? Everyone is looking for happiness. But in this material world, everyone has misconception where the pleasure lies. Everyone is looking for pleasure in a wrong place. And that leads to so much hankering and lamentation. I want it, and something doesn't go right. I lament, and then I want it again. And everyone is looking for pleasure, and everyone is full of anxiety because of that. Because of want of pleasure. But one doesn't get any pleasure from there. Maybe some little teeny temporary pleasure. Little bit, and then full of anxiety. It's the nature of this world. But the desire is there to look for pleasure. But then when one sees the Lord, realizes the Lord, then one feels like, hey, I have tried everything. This is beyond. And he becomes so attached to that pleasure because so higher, the mind becomes pure. And mind is naturally looking for pleasure so high that mind says nothing else other than this. This is all I want. So that's when the mind is controlled. It doesn't want anything, doesn't want to divert to anything because this is super high. And the moment he loses this, he feels like the whole world is lost. I cannot afford losing this. I want it, I want it, I want it. So it's like such a strong hook connecting to the Lord that from there one never departs. Like strongly attached to that. Unbounded happiness, we don't know what it means, unbounded joy. I mean, we may have little experience of transcendental joy here and there, but then what they experience samadhi is like just too much to take.
Mm. Yeah, the word yoga translates to union or
Uh,
connection.
yeah,
Um, and suppose, this is what is being
yeah,
pointed to here, right? Is the
mm,
the union or the reunion with the
yeah,
divine,
yeah.
so that it's, yeah, very strong.
I mean, imagine the day you have the best kirtan,
Mm.
maybe the best kirtan. One day, one moment will be there, the best kirtan. That also like a tiny of what full unbound connection is. But if you remember that day you have the best kirtan, you cannot open your eyes. Your mind is so focused, at least for a few minutes. You don't know what is, you forget everything. You forget about yourself also. All your focus is just the name remains. And there's a lot of joy. And that is, imagine that's tiny aspect. So what to speak about? Cannot think of anything. Mind is so super attached. You like forget everything else. That time, all your worries, everything is gone, right? Nobody counts. Nothing comes. All the problems gone. Whether it's job problem, financial problem, relationship, everything. Forget everything. Just that and finish. That's transcendence, actually. That's a glimpse of transcendence.
Mm.
Very high, bro.
Shows it does show to me it's like how far away that is because
Ah,
in the material world, every up is followed by a down, and
mm, mm,
a lot of time, I mean, downs eventually are followed by ups, right? And like it's like the only reason we know or we remember that, oh, that was a great moment, is that
mm.
it goes away, and
Yeah.
sort of, I guess, the conditioning reasserts itself, and then you
Yeah.
say, oh wow, that was so nice.
Ah,
It's
ah.
sort of only in comparison to because I,
Yeah.
went over the
When we
peak.
come out, when we come out of that kirtan and everything is normal, then our conditioning boots up again. Hey, this is your name. This is who you are. This is what you are looking for. Okay. This is what you want to get. All right. Run after this. All right. Everything is gone actually. And then you're like, oh, that time nothing was there. Now I'm full of it. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says there is external consciousness, there is semi-consciousness, there's internal consciousness. Externally, we are aware of this word. Semi, we are kind of absorbed, and somebody says something, and we are finding it hard to process what somebody is speaking. You're so absorbed in Kirtan, somebody says this, and then kind of hard. Oh, what? Oh, we have to get that refrigerator. Ah. And then we have to come out of that to respond to the needs and demands of this world. They're like semi. Internal, nobody can wake you up, but you're not sleeping. But it's like super inside. Mahaprabhu would go into that consciousness, internal consciousness. And devotees are like so much worried and they're and Mahaprabhu is just like just speaking, murmuring something, something, something. Then they would loudly say, Hare Krishna. Then Mahaprabhu, why did you bring me here? Then he come to semi-consciousness and then Mahaprabhu said, Mahaprabhu laments, I was there and then you called me back. Now, why did you call me back? Then Mahaprabhu laments. So this is like Mahaprabhu is exhibiting the state of samadhi.
Mhm.
We are like small insects, right? Hey, I was trying to become a devotee. But yeah, the goal is far. But this is sweet. That's what Krishna is telling. That is sweet.
Mhm.
Look for that. Work for that.
Yeah, one thinks there's no greater gain
Ah,
they're attaining.
hmm,
Yeah. And so he says that in addition to you never depart from the truth, right? One never departs from the truth, being situated in this position, and one is also never shaken, even in the greatest difficulty. So, so many verses about in Bhagavad Gita about not being shaken from adversity or any difficulty and remaining steady.
hmm,
And this is, I suppose, it's like a description of the culmination of that practice, right? Like one is established in the self,
hmm.
and so no longer shaken by any difficulty and anything, right?
Because we have gone beyond that platform. All the difficulties at at a material level, matter level, and material mind and intelligence and whatever, it's all here. But we are standing here. So there may be an earthquake, but the bird is not affected by it.
Mm,
Everything may be like breaking, the buildings are breaking, everyone is like, you know, so many difficulties. They were like, so it's like there is a level above. So they are not shaken by what is happening at this level. Completely transcendental level they are.
Mm, mm. I guess I guess a question that comes to my mind, Prabhuji, little piece of, I guess, confusion that I have is, so one never departs from
Mm.
the truth, Krishna is
Mm.
saying. Like essentially it's like you never depart from this state in a way, right? And so I guess what I'm wondering is like when somebody does call person back, like, Mahaprabhu, his disciples were like literally like shake him or, just like try to get him back, or, someone's so absorbed in that kirtan and then somebody is poking them and, hey, we need to know about the refrigerator. What kind of like
Mm.
I guess, the question is, even, if someone is sort of forced back into, okay, I have to be externally aware,
Mm.
that state is still, I guess they're still in a way, they're still in that samadhi state. Is that
They're also there in samadhi. Yes, still they are in samadhi, but they are in external consciousness. They're aware of this word, but they are constantly thinking of Krishna still.
mm,
So in that way, one never departs.
mm. So like as you say, they're on a higher platform now.
Mm.
They don't go back down to that lower platform. Yeah.
And for them to go to an internal state just takes a moment.
Mm,
They'll be gone again there. But they can come back, but they never depart still. They're never affected by the material energy. They all the quality still remains the same, but they're just externally aware.
mm. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. Final sentence of the verse is that this indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact. Mm. So yeah,
Material gives so much.
actual freedom.
Mm. Material contact, so much misery. But we are willing to go through that misery in the hope of pleasure. There is something in it. One day I'll get it, but that one day never comes. Just if there is something very tiny, the whole life is going on hankering, desiring. Ah, I want it, I want it. And just gives misery and wow, but we cannot learn also because actually by mercy only we can. Krishna has to attach us to a higher principle in order to give up this material contact. Just by meditating on it, I want to give it up. We are still thinking of the material contact only. We cannot do it. It's like there is an example of a caterpillar. He goes to the next leaf. He grabs the next leaf, then only leaves the first leaf. Cannot be in the air. He has to hold to the next leaf to leave the previous leaf. So he has to hold to Krishna to leave the material contact. Cannot be in the middle.
So for people who are, you know, who have been practicing for many years, is it sort of like they're kind of on both leaves? Or like, one as one gradually goes along, the path progresses, there's like you're like reaching, you're sort of grabbing a hold of one leaf, but that all the material stuff, all the desires,
Yeah,
there's still kind of that you have to inch your way further up the Christian leaf before you can let go
yeah.
of that one.
But he has 100 legs now.
Hmm.
After few years, he have 5 legs on the Krishna leaf. Then 10 more years, he has now 10 legs. 90 legs remains there only. Then 15 legs. 85 legs remains there. So gradually, he like working his way through. To the extent he catches that much he loses the contact here. That much he is free from anxiety and trouble. Yeah, full of these things, bro. What to do? We are trying. We are trying. We are insincerely trying. May not be very sincere, but we are still trying.
I know I've heard some devotees talk about, because on the one hand it seems like the spiritual journey is very difficult. Spiritual practice is very difficult. Just sort of beginning to try to practice some austerity, for example, is difficult. But I hear people describe sometimes, it's people who they've been doing this for years, and they just say, at a certain point it's like, I don't know, maybe it's like they get enough legs on that other leaf and they just go, you know what, everything really is okay from here. I was like, I know that I'm still in this material contact. Like I'm still in it. I still have these desires. I still have attachments. I'm still identified, in part sort of with this body, this false ego. But at a certain point, you're just sort of, you think of yourself as the doer less. You're less attached to, and so you're maybe one can feel themselves start to climb up that other leaf or something, but I just I've heard, different devotees describe that. It's just, yeah, you're sort of, it gets easier in that sense, right?
It gets
After
easier with time.
so
Yeah.
long. Yeah.
Yeah. Also depends upon how much we were in before.
Mm.
How much we went in, that much it will take time to come out.
Mm. Yeah, long time anyway. I could say.
Yeah.
Mm.
Anyways, so you think it's a good time?
I think so, Virgie. Yeah, it's very, I feel like very confidential sort of topic today, not much for me to say, but
For me also. But we are still discussing. And
Mm.
when we discuss, we are growing our kind of desire for that goal, or we want relief from here, or we are increasing our faith in that. And Krishna is actually giving us faith in that. He himself is telling this is what will happen to one who has attained samadhi. That's what one feels. And then when we get there, then when we read that verse, we'll say this is so true. But right now we are not there, but we may feel, oh, that is so attractive.
Mm. And so this would be described not as a material desire, but a spiritual desire,
Mhm.
correct? So
Mhm.
differentiating, and it's not anything that has to do with being for myself.
Yeah.
Sort of like, I suppose it's, you do it for God
Mm.
because He wants that for us,
Mm. Yeah.
correct?
Yeah. It's yeah. All right. Okay.
Thank you,
So
Roger.
yeah. Thank you for watching Shyamcast. We'll hope to see you soon. Bye for now.